All right, so Nigeria now. If you're seeking investment returns in Africa's largest economy, how do you get past double-digit inflation? Well, the Nigerian Stock Exchange is on a run, up 13.4% year to date as at Friday, April 22nd. But it is below the latest inflation print of 15.92%, as are Treasury bills. There's a 364-day bill there, 4.6%. Average sovereign bond yields, about 11.2% in Nigeria. Corporate bond yields doing about 11%. So how do you get past that? Well, our next guest, Ayodeji Ebo, MD, CBO at Optimus by AFRINVEST, says Nigerians should diversify their investment portfolio by including U.S. dollar securities. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining us, Ayodeji. So our prior segment, we're just looking at the FX situation in Zimbabwe. For here in Nigeria, you've described it as a crisis. That's a strong word. Can you explain how what we're seeing in Nigeria with FX qualifies as a crisis?
Okay, thanks. And what we are seeing is that we know the major source of FX for the CBN or for the government has dwindled significantly, which is oil. We're all aware of the oil theft and the reduction in investment that is going on within that sector. When you look at the budget, the government has planned to get about over 3 trillion naira from the oil sector. And with what is going on, it means that would reduce. And also looking at the external reserves in the last 6 or 7 months, what we've seen that has led to the accretion of the external reserves is the issuance of Euro bonds. The federal government raised about $4 billion in September, and this year, January, about $1.25 billion. So beyond that, the external reserves would have depleted significantly. And this is why the CBN is trying to ration the external reserves to keep it at a comfortable level. So as a result, it's really very obvious that it's really going to be, Nigeria is really in a tight situation regarding the FX. This is beyond what the CBN can solve. It's more of a structural challenge, which is basically dependent on moves that is taken by the fiscal authority. And that is why I said it's a crisis that requires attention. We need to reduce the oil theft such that we can begin to see more inflow into our reserves, which would give the CBN more ability to be able to defend or to be able to supply FX to the markets.
All right. So for investors, how can they protect themselves and their purchasing power through, the suggestion to look at USD investments to add to their portfolios?
Okay, thanks. So we know that part of the inflation rate that reduces the purchasing power for investors is what we call the imported inflation. And this we cannot run away because Nigeria is import dependent, at least as for now. So what is advised is that Nigeria should diversify into dollar-denominated assets. We have the likes of dollar mutual funds, that is fixed income in nature, that investors can put their funds in, which, when you invest in dollars, if you need to know that you get 2 types of returns. One, if there's an adjustment in the naira, you would see that your naira value of investment would increase. And secondly, if you are not just leaving your money in your DOM account and you're investing it, even if it's 2, 3, or 4%, you are also adding to the value of your investment. So given those 2 returns that you get if you take a move rather than not doing anything, you would agree with me that it's important that investors begin to look at those dollar-denominated investments. You have the fixed, for those you can have fixed dollar investment, like the fixed deposit. People will promise you a fixed rate for a certain period of time. But just people to be mindful, this is not forex trading. This is investments, and it's good to have that long-term perspective. And for those that also have higher risk appetite, there are foreign securities. We have firms that have been licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission. to trade in foreign securities. We also have foreign firms that also give you access to be able to trade those securities. So it's you need to have a portion of your investment for you to be able to hedge, so that any adjustment does not just wipe off your investment or your savings in real times, or looking at it in naira terms. And I feel that it's better that we do it. Investors begin to look at that to protect themselves from any major shock.
Thank you so much for that. I mean, what about cost barriers? If you look at what it, I mean, the official rate's 416. Being able to get, access that, are there cost barriers to this suggestion?
Okay, thanks. Very important question. And it's good to clarify that investment is not on the eligible list of the CBN. So the CBN will not sell dollars for investment, whether you are investing in Euro bonds, you're investing in dollar mutual funds, or you're investing in US securities. It means you have to source for your dollars in either from the BDC or the unofficial market. And the kind of dollars that is required is what we call transfer dollars. It's different from the cash dollars, which is the Aboki dollars. So you will need firm that you buy the dollars from before you can make the investment. And it comes at a premium because it's there's no limit to what you can transfer for those dollars compared to what you have for cash dollars. But when you look at the premium or that you have to pay now, we know that looking at the reality of things, our situation in terms of reducing the demand for FX as is currently, we are not on the way to solving that problem. So it's something that will still take time for us to solve, which means that there's that likelihood that there may continue to be an adjustment in naira. So it's when you look at the 2 or 3% premium that you may be paying to acquire dollars for your investment, it may be worthwhile compared to the devaluation or the adjustments that may occur even as we go in the future due to the current situation in Nigeria, except a drastic situation is taken regarding our production and we can increase our exports beyond just exporting crude.
Thank you for that. Are you talking about just, and I'm glad you made the clarification that we're not talking about FX trading here. We're talking about US dollar securities. This US stock market, it's equity market, it's risky. What about the importance of due diligence? Are you looking at other securities other than stocks?
Okay, thanks. And when we talk about due diligence, for any firm that you want to trade with, we know that for Nigeria, we have the apex body, the Securities and Exchange Commission. So they must be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. And if you are also looking at the foreign platforms to trade through them, they must be registered with the US Securities and Exchange Commission. And most of them must also be registered with FINRA, that's the Financial International Reporting Council in the US. So that will minimize your risk. And in terms of if you are looking at investing in foreign securities, the best way is for you to understand the sector. One, you need to understand this is same thing as stocks, and the risks that applies to Nigerian stocks will also apply to stocks anywhere. But you need to look at what's the potential growth in some of those sectors that you want to invest in. And once you understand that, you are able to position to narrow down on those stocks, because in the US you have over 6,000 listed stocks. And if you don't want to be saddled yourself with that responsibility, there's what we call the exchange traded fund, ETFs, that you invest in a basket of funds. So like, for instance, not a recommendation, you have what we call the Vanguard S&P 500 that invest in the top 500 companies in the US. So that reduces your volatility, reduces the time for you to start narrowing down on which one you should invest. And over time, it's proven in the last 5 years, some of those ETFs have returned at over 70%. So our average of 10-15% annually in dollar terms. So when you now convert it to naira, you would see that the return will be very significant. So I think by and large, due diligence is really very key. Understand what you are going into, understand the risks that is involved, and also understand the regulations around it.
Ayodeji Ebo, MD, Chief Business Officer at Optimus by AFRINVEST. Thank you so much for talking to us. Appreciate your time.